let's keep them flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing. Just imagine me having a skin on my DualSense Edge for a year and never. Anyways, what's going on? This is Super PlayStation Bros. We are live coming at you. We got this week's PlayStation news. We are PlayStation First Gaming Podcast. I'm joined as always by the charismatic Doragon. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing this Wednesday morning?
Oh, I was all right, and then I just pulled my earphones out my ears. Ow! That one hurts. Do not recommend. Defo don't recommend that
afternoon one. for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this side of the pond, it's afternoon. Yeah, it's time zones, eh? Who needs them?
Yeah. What's going on, everybody here in chat? We got SPG, that PlayStation Gamer, Ninja Guy, Mr. Vet himself, and the Phoenix. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining us this morning, and everyone out there listening along as well. Thanks for joining. Yes, but let's get into it like I like to start, and that is, what have you been gaming on this week? What have you been playing with those symmetrical joysticks we have?
Oh, those beautiful symmetrical joysticks. I have been in VR. I have spent a lot of time in VR. I started Synth Riders. It was my first time playing that game. It's a rhythm-based VR title in a similar sort of vein to, say, Beat Saber and Pistol Whip, but this one is much more dance-oriented. You move inside to side, your whole body's on the go, you've got your arms doing full movements and what have you, not just slicing a block sort of thing. I've really been enjoying Synth Riders. I jumped into the new update on No Man's Sky in VR. Oh, wow, that looks good. I do not know another VR game that looks as good as... Okay, Call of the Wild looks about as good as that. Call of the Mountain, the Horizon game, but that's a much smaller title than what No Man's Sky is. No Man's Sky in VR with this new update, absolutely incredible. Looks absolutely stunning. I've been very stuck in there. Had a bit of time in Gran Turismo 7 as well, because you've got to have some time in Gran Turismo 7. And I've been really enjoying the headset again. Like, every time I put it on, every time I come back to it after a small break, like a 2-3 week break from it, it reminds me of why I love it so much, of why it's there, why it's worth the money for me. And I know it's now got the sort of availability to be used on PC as well. I don't have a PC to test that, but it's great that it's there. So yeah, that's been me. I've been in VR. I've been having a great time. What about yourself, my man? I know you gallivanted off to America, which is why we didn't have last week's show. What have you been doing since returning, though?
Well, since returning, I've also been into No Man's Sky. Was my latest adventure. I dropped into that yesterday. The Expedition has dropped, and it just sent me into a whirlwind. I couldn't put the controller down, back into the No Man's Sky universe again. I'm very close to Platinum, by the way. So I may be trying to scratch that out this next game session.
But other than that, I got Dark Souls Remaster. I'm going back in that catalog, playing bit by bit. But oh my gosh, my issue with that game is I feel like I'm playing on a Nintendo 64. It's just so old school. I mean, I'm having a bit of a difficulty getting over it. But, you know, I enjoy it. I play little bit by little bit. The bosses are still epic. The characters, everything still relates to my favorite genre. So that is pretty cool. Oh, No Man's Sky was 60% on the PS Store, but I missed it, and now it's full price again. That is a crime, Phoenix. Oh my gosh, you gotta wishlist those games so you get notified. That's how I did it for my copy of No Man's Sky. I believe I grabbed it on a Black Friday deal. It was maybe like
You did,
that
yeah.
same
We
type of deal.
both picked it up around sort of September, October last year, and then you no-lifed it for like 2 weeks, and I made myself very sick in the spaceship. Very sick. Because you were flat screen, I was VR.
Yeah. It's a pinnacle experience for a survival genre, for an exploration genre. It's hands down one of the best things. Show the tats. What? No, I only got one tat. Maybe no, it's 2 tats. It's 2 tats on 1 tat. But we'll go into that another time. It's 1 tat, okay, that I got, and then I added a bit on the side here. So that's what it is. I would like
Fair
to
enough.
get more tattoos, but that's a discussion for another day. You know, a huge
That's not this
PlayStation
podcast.
logo.
Yeah, that's a different podcast. And unless, of course, yeah, like you say, big PlayStation logo. Yeah.
Dark Souls is perfect. Ninja, what do you mean? It feels so... Oh, I posted some of the videos. It feels like I'm playing Nintendo 64 Super Mario Brothers. Like, it's just... The graphics, the textures is just, you know, those flat... And it's just green with spots, and that's grass. It's like, no, you lose the immersion. And that's what I've come to grow upon on these games in this day and age. But
it
definitely...
is 2 generations old. Give it its dues.
Yeah.
It came out PS3 generation, and I'm assuming Ninja played it back then, or at least with the original PS4 remaster. So for him at the time, it probably was perfect.
Ninja Guy has just recently played through the From Software catalog. I wonder how far he's got, because he started at the beginning. And yes, I did just get to Blighttown. I defeated the Gaping Dragon. Yes, that is the name of the dragon. And if you want to check out the video, you can check out my channel. It is a weird looking dragon. I'll say that. But let's get on to what's been going on in PlayStation gaming this week. And everybody, thanks for shouting out the games you've been playing. Still on Sekiro, my favorite. Ninja Guy Sekiro is hands down the best of the series. It puts you one-on-one with every single boss. There's no help in any sort of way. Parry, rhythm, slashes, amazing story. They break from the formula and create something special. Sekiro is hands down chef's kiss. Anyways,
Why Ninja? Why derail him like that? You know he has an issue when it comes to Sekiro. We've got him in Sekiro Anonymous to try and get him off and get him straight and clean.
I have a Sekiro related story. I had to put it in here because I love Sekiro, and anytime I see the word, it's like trigger word for me. So I hope to bring that up later on. But let's talk about what's going on with Bungie, because we were talking pre-show, and Dorgon's like, oh, so we're not going to talk about Bungie? And I'm like, oh, crap. You know, that is the biggest thing to happen with PlayStation in the recent week, and we kind of missed our take on it. So why don't we jump into what's been going on with Bungie? They seem to have been shuffling some people around. They're reducing their staff. They're creating new studios, and there are layoffs, unfortunately. Now, I had predicted that after Destiny 2, Bungie was going to come to a road where they needed to make some choices, and obviously reducing staff, creating new avenues for games, and making a functional business that is profitable in today's market could not carry that many people, especially with the games that they were offering. So that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. And it's unfortunate that people's jobs got lost, but I think it's essential for Bungie to survive in today's market.
I think what's essential is get rid of Pete Parsons, the CEO. He's been mismanaging Bungie for quite a while now. There's a few reasons for this. Some of it's like it's got a really positive connotation, but then it has really negative implications. So one of the big problems is people don't leave Bungie. People go and work at Bungie and they stay at Bungie, which is a huge positive for the company. But when you work somewhere, you're not going to stay at that entry-level developer role forever. You're going to want to move up. You're going to get more experience. You want more money for what you're doing. And so they keep creating job roles, keep promoting people internally. And you ended up with a top-heavy company. You had so many senior developers, so many senior narrative designers, so many senior audio designers, and so on and so forth. There were that many roles with senior in front of them that there wasn't enough people on the ground. Even though there were 1,300 people in this company, there were not enough people on the ground actually making the game to make the company feasible. And Pete Parsons grew this company quickly between sort of 2017 and 2020 because Bungie wanted to have 3 persistent IPs out in the world. And in 2024, they've still only got 1, which is Destiny 2. So this is mismanagement from top down. This is Pete Parsons and his management team absolutely dropping the ball, cocking up, making a mess of everything, promoting people into positions that didn't exist, that didn't need to exist, and not pushing the new IPs out of the door. He was taking incredible talent off the actual money-making game, the actual product that was out in the world, making this company money at the time, moved them elsewhere, which meant delays for that money-making project that was actually out in the world. And you just didn't end up with the right people in the right place to make the game. That's mismanagement. That is poor management of the company. It's what we've seen in a lot of these businesses from time to time. And because they are now hemorrhaging money left, right, and center, we end up in a situation where people have to go. It's one of the quickest and easiest ways to save money. I personally always expected after the final shape of Destiny 2 shipped, this culmination of 10 years of storytelling, that there would be redundancies, that there would be jobs disappearing at Bungie. Because you've just completed this huge thing and you then don't need all of those people there. I think everybody sort of expected that one. I think everybody in Bungie sort of expected that one. But the massive amount of people that have been lost, the fact that it's not as big as it could have been because Sony spun some of those amazing, talented people out into their own studio with one of the IPs that they didn't ship to actually make that game and them overlook it and control it, shows you like they really care about the quality of these members of staff. But it could have been so much worse. We could have lost even more talent from this amazing developer, but they've just been mismanaged and it's not good enough. So yeah, it's kind of a situation of Pete Parsons needs to go. They need a new CEO in place who's actually going to run this business in a way where it doesn't just sink further and further because of rampant ambition that's got nothing legitimate and real behind it to float said ambition. Poor management, really poor management, and it's sad to see, for especially after such a success of something like the final shape, which was universally loved by the players. So yeah, it's a terrible situation, and as always, comes down to the idiots at the top.
It was universally loved and well received by critics alike, the final shape, but Bungie was running into some sort of situation in the marketplace where Lightfall outsold Final Shape. So that is a head scratcher in itself into where the market was at when Final Shape released. And obviously, when that happened, Bungie needed to do some massive changes. And like you said, moving these people that were instrumental in innovation and creating a great gameplay experience were shuffled to other places. That's going to result in your product, and that's going to show. But new path for Bungie. I think Bungie as a name will be better off for this transformation. It sounds like Sony is coming in and they are taking control, as that PlayStation guy is saying in chat. They need it. They need somebody to come in, rein in this path of terror, and sort of create that Bungie name and put it back on the pinnacles of MMOs, back on the pinnacle of we need to create a Destiny 2 killer, back on top where it needs to be. And that's what they bought, so they need to protect their investment.
Yeah, I don't know how well that's going to go. Sony are not a live service company in terms of PlayStation Studios. They're the incredible narrative, well-made multiplayer or single player. So this whole live service thing, how they're going to step in and try and sort that out, I'm not sure. However, there's got to be some change. There's got to be something different, because what Bungie are doing currently as an autonomous PlayStation Studio isn't working, so maybe them taking more of a control. And I do believe that's what some of the contract was in buying the company. They had autonomy, but it was only up to a point, and if they failed that, Sony would sort of assume control. I believe they're sort of triggering that clause now, so we'll see what comes of it. I know there's lots of rumors surrounding things at the moment that things are going to be getting smaller, that the 10th anniversary pack of Bungie is basically just going to be armor sets that you go and earn now, and not an actual event like it was originally planned, similar to the Bungie 30th anniversary pack. I know there's rumors that future updates will be sort of shadow keep size, so much smaller, but all of this is rumors. All of this is hearsay at the moment. The reality is there's 300 people who are no longer working at Bungie. They have brought that down in size quite drastically, that studio, to work on Marathon and Destiny 2 only. But one of the IPs has been spun out into a brand new studio, so Sony and PlayStation were able to actually save some jobs there. There's still 200 odd people who've lost their jobs through poor management, and that's the main thing we should be taking away there, and that management needs to change to make sure that this sort of terrible loss of jobs doesn't happen again.
Well, thank you, Bungie, and all the employees for all the good times you've caused until now. I hope the name and the idea carries on forward. Let's transition to the next one, and that is PlayStation 5 sales down from last year. That's what Sony is revealing. However, it still hit 61.7 million units sold. An incredibly impressive number when you compare it to the other console, which released in two versions. Those two versions combined are not even getting up to half of what the PlayStation 5 has sold. So that in itself is a great feat to see in the market. It shows obviously some dominance there and some great positioning. And we see it in even the developers expressing Xbox other guy what. But we'll get into that story later. However, they're down. And you got to recognize that year over year, they're not selling as many consoles. And that is just the fact. I mean, the console's getting older. We're in its fourth year. And I don't think anyone is surprised that it's not going to sell as much as it did the previous 3, 2, and first year. But that's what we wanted to bring to light here. Dorgon, anything to say on PlayStation 5 sales down?
You've pretty much covered it. It's a 4-year-old console at this point. It is halfway through its lifespan. In the next 3 or 4 years, we will hear about the next PlayStation console. So it's not surprising that sales are starting to slow. Sales of the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, halfway through their lifespan, they had also started to slow. it's just people doom and gloom every single bit of news going. Sony is still profitable. Their first-party software is driving massive profit for the PlayStation division. Their subscription services are driving profit for the PlayStation division, which is kind of shocking to hear when every other subscription is struggling. I was kind of shocked to hear that the PlayStation Plus was actually profitable at the moment, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's year on year, it's down more than I expected. It would be at some 30-something% drop or what have you. But at the same time, we've had, one first-party mega hit in that time in Spider-Man 2. Everything else has been a third-party exclusive. So I'm kind of not surprised there's such a big drop year on year. If we have a stream of PlayStation first-party experiences coming between now and this time in 2025, you'll probably see those sales increase because people will want the box to play those amazing games upon, and they will go out and buy them. I think it's kind of to be expected at this point in the console cycle, but also we're in a position where there hasn't been the software to push the sales of the hardware. To address one of the questions in chat from Callie Drew Voss, does pre-owned count with overall numbers as well? No, it doesn't. All PlayStation count is what they sell, so brand spanking new, whether it's through them directly or any of their retail partners. Anything then sold on the market thereafter, it's one of the existing 61-point-something million that's in the world already.
And there we have it. I mean, the sheer numbers are affecting the developers as well. We're hearing people from Phantom Blade Zero as well as Wukong being quoted. And yeah, I tried to pull up that article, but it was removed. And I still think it's true. But this is the article that says deny the quote that nobody needs Xbox. So this was on the show floor. Apparently a reporter walked up to one of the developers. They asked them why their product isn't coming up on Xbox. The developer responded saying nobody needs Xbox. Now, this was not said in English. There could have been mistranslation happening here, but obviously the PC babies came to the forefront and they needed to correct this and come out with an official response that says Xbox is okay and they're just as important. Okay, we see and we recognize Xbox and we are not doing this because blah blah blah. Anyways, that is the story we have. I still believe in my heart of hearts that they went up to a developer, they asked him what about the Xbox version, and he said what is Xbox. So that's my thinking. Dorgon, you got to clear up my muckiness here.
I'm not sure there's a huge amount of muckiness. You've kind of covered it. This thing went through 2 or 3 sets of translations before hitting mainstream Western headlines. The problem you face with direct translations, because I don't speak Cantonese or Mandarin or whichever local dialect they were speaking in this China Hero thing. So I don't know how to translate that. I'd have to put it through Google Translate, which does a direct translation. And the problem with such a thing is it loses its nuance. So whereas you or I could say, well, we're not going to develop for Xbox because there aren't enough of them for the cost involved in developing for it to make it worthwhile, that direct translation saying who needs Xbox, it's on the nose, but it's also kind of true. We've seen it from quite a few developers recently saying it's barely worth developing for PlayStation. There aren't enough PlayStation players to make it worth developing. On a good day, in a best case scenario, a game will sell to about 10% of the install base. So those 61 million PlayStation 5s out there, if you absolutely nail it and sell to 10% of that install base, you're selling 6 million copies of that game, which sounds great, but that's barely covering the overheads of making the game in the first place if it's a AAA title. So yeah, it's barely worth making for PlayStation, and when you've got maybe a quarter of the amount of Xboxes out there that you've got of PlayStation, developing for that, it's a bigger ask. It's a much bigger ask. Even developing for Switch is a much bigger ask because of the vastly different architecture. Even though there's a bigger install base, 170 million or something, so you'd be selling 17 million at that 10%, it's still very expensive to develop for because you'd have to change the whole way that everything works. So yeah, it's one of those situations. It depends where you start developing. That is obviously your target platform, and the China Hero project is funded by PlayStation for a lot of these guys. So PlayStation is a target development point. But
that's a big point you make.
So that's a big point. PC crowd, there are so many vast amounts of different types of PC. You've got these handheld PCs that are out there now, so you kind of want to get in on that because it can be an absolutely giant or an absolutely tiny demographic that you're going to get, but it's possibly worth putting the effort in. But then Xbox, where you've got, if it's a quarter of 60 million, what is with the mathematics there? You're selling what, 1, maybe 2 million if you're lucky, if you absolutely nail it. Most of the time, less than that. Is it worth developing for a platform where you're going to sell 400,000 copies only, not even break the million mark? And the answer for a lot of these smaller developers, these first-time developers and what have you, unless they are funded by that platform, is no. It's just not worth the development costs for the return that they will get from the platform. It's nothing to do with it not being a powerful device. It is nothing to do with hating Xbox players or anything. It's just cost to return. Is it worthwhile, that developer developing for a box that doesn't have a big install base? And the honest answer for most people is no.
Chat, you guys are amazing today. You guys are cracking me up. I've lost track because I'm just following the chat's conversation and their ridiculousness. You guys are hilarious. Let's get on to the next one. God of War developer might be making a new IP. We've touched on this before. And this is just us bringing you back another update that there is more news, apparently again spotted on some sort of LinkedIn resume, that we're seeing more news towards the Santa Monica studio going in a different direction of God of War. Personally, I don't want to see it. Give me an Atreus game. I hope they're still doing that kind of thing, but we'll see. As we're noticing, we saw Square Enix numbers comes out. These games, these companies need to diversify. They need a mobile revenue stream. They need to create these big MMOs. These are the ways that companies are really succeeding. It was sad to see that Square Enix was not even able to really come out on top based on its console investment. So I really want the console games to survive. I want more games like God of War. So whatever you need to do to support that stream of content for me, go for it. But my thinking is it may not be this big, huge game. It may be them trying to create an MMO or a mobile game, something to secure their company moving forward. But sky's the limit, and we don't know all too much.
According to the guy's LinkedIn page, it is a AAA game. It will be for PlayStation because it's Sony Santa Monica. Literal's got Sony in the name. It sounds like it's a new IP, though. He does say it's for a new IP, and there is nothing wrong with a second IP. If you look at Naughty Dog had multiple IPs on the go. They had Uncharted and The Last of Us running in the last generation. They had Jak and Daxter and Uncharted running in the generation before. They had Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter running in the generation before that, and so on and so forth. They've always had two IPs running side by side. Insomniac are insane and have like 7 IPs running side by side because they're just, apparently they can churn out games like nobody's business. So there's nothing wrong with Sony Santa Monica, a team that for the last 4 generations of consoles, so PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5 have just made God of War games, branching out into a new IP. There is nothing wrong with that at all. They have enough people in-house. They have a big enough studio to be able to house 2 separate teams that can work on 2 separate types of game. It's not like God of War's going anywhere. When you've got that cash cow in hand, you don't just throw it away at the peak of its popularity. Like, they've proven that. It started to dip, and they brought it back and nurtured it and grew it into 2018's God of War. It just hit that peak and went beyond what it had ever done before. So they can do that again. But there's nothing wrong with having a second team working on a second IP, something new, something fresh, something different, something that we're kind of missing otherwise in the gaming sphere. I'm all for it. Bring on a new IP. These are the same guys that made Twisted Metal. They gave us the Twisted Metal franchise. They know how to do other things than God of War. Let us see what they can do. Let them
a
cook.
soft spot.
Let them cook. Let them bring us something incredible, because you know it's going to be incredible. It's Sony Santa Monica, and it might take 4 years for it to arrive. I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it. Let them cook.
Well, yeah. We'll see what happens.
I've just undermined your entire argument, haven't I?
Yeah. Let's transition. I will bow to Dorgon on that point. You know, they have shown that they can do it. Let's see them do it again. But let's throw on our headsets, because we haven't talked all too much about VR here. But we have a new summer price slash. If you haven't jumped into the VR space as of yet, the sale is on of the century, bringing it to as low as $350, which is pretty damn low for a VR headset, and especially one of this caliber. Not to mention that you're also seeing Half-Life Alyx come on for a discounted price if you want to use it with Steam. Plug it into your computer. Right now is the prime time to pick up PlayStation VR 2. This price slash is incredible. I think they'll move a lot of units, and people were waiting for this. I think there's going to be a lot of people who were just saying, as soon as this happens, as soon as a significant price happens, I'm jumping in. So I could see a big boom on this one.
I think the PSVR 2 is worth it at full price. The £529 here in the UK. I think it's completely worth it. I've had £529 worth of value out of it. So it coming down to like 360 something for the past month has been an incredible value proposition, especially as there is also that adapter, as you said, to play this headset with PC VR as well. So you're getting a 2-for-1 deal here. 2 for 1. It's an incredible headset. It's a 4K headset. It gives you 120 hertz. So even if you just use it as like your HDMI 2.1 TV, you're getting a better experience than plugging it into your 4K 60. It's plug and play on the PlayStation. So there's no faffing about. There's no messing about. You just plug it into the front USB-C port and you're playing VR. How much simpler do you want VR to be? And in the past month, with that price cut, it has outsold both the HTC Vive and the Meta Quest as a VR headset. If Sony can do this permanently, if they can drop the price of this headset permanently, it might be a market leader. I understand it's an incredible piece of kit. I understand that you want to make some money back on it, but you can make that money on the software. You can make that money on the PlayStation Store, because if people have got it, they're going to plug it into their PlayStation as well as their PC, aren't they? There's only going to be a small portion that only buy it for the PC gaming. I think they need to look at doing this price cut permanently, because this could give them another platform to develop for, make money from, and bring unique and wonderful experiences to. I love my PSVR 2. I think it's one of the best headsets out there. I've used the HTC Vive 2 Pro. I've used the Meta Quest 2. I've used the high-end Oculus, and the PSVR 2 is better than all of them. It's more comfortable. It's easier to use. I think they need to look at making this a permanent price cut, because it will drive people towards it.
Absolutely. But as Phoenix asked, is it all over the world? I just went to go check. It's definitely not in Canada, as the price is still locked in pretty high here. But I hope that
UK,
people who do have
Europe,
access,
and US definitely.
yeah, definitely take advantage of it. But for people like Ninja and I, we're left out to suffer.
You're being told to check Amazon.
I did just check Amazon.
Ninja says it's $79.99 on Amazon. Whether that's the saving or how much it costs. If it's $79.99,
I think
buy
he's
it
saying
now.
I think he's saying it's $7.99. Yeah, I'll DM you. Okay,
Right.
DM me. I honestly just looked it up on Amazon right now.
Hey, if you're wrong, we'll take it. You're buying a PSVR 2 on stream if you're wrong.
Looking over to Hannah, she's like, not for that right now, but we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, it's in the internet now. You've got to do it.
Let's go back in time and talk about an era of a PS3. So one of the biggest kerfuffles, and I'm glad I wasn't a Super PlayStation bro around the PS3 era, was the catastrophe of this unit. It was over-engineered and under-supported. However, it seems to be the only testament of time, still supporting its store as up and running as different stores such as the Xbox 360 and the Wii U shop have all shut down in previous years. So if you want that retro game store, the PS3 is the only one still left standing. Crazy.
And it's thanks to the fans that it is. Sony looked to shut down the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita stores in, I want to say 2021. It might be 2020. But 3 or 4 years ago, they looked to close these stores in exactly the same way that Microsoft have done with the Xbox 360 store, and exactly the same way that Nintendo have done with both the Wii and the Wii U store. Fan backlash was huge. The PlayStation 3, because of its unique architecture, is the only place and the only way that you can play certain games. And these games are available on those stores. If you want to play, for example, Gravity Rush as it was originally intended on the PlayStation Vita, you've got to buy it from the PlayStation Vita store. There are no new cartridges out there. You can't go to PlayStation directly or Amazon or somewhere and pick one of those up. You might be able to pick it up secondhand on somewhere like eBay or Vinted. But generally, you've got to go to that digital storefront on the PlayStation Vita and buy that game there. If you want to play Metal Gear Solid 4, the only way to play that absolutely seminal title is to play it on PlayStation 3. And again, you've got to buy it through the PlayStation 3 digital store. The only way to play a couple of the God of War games is through the PlayStation 3 store, and so on and so forth. So we are in a situation where fan backlash was so strong against Sony wanting to close these stores that they went, all right, we will keep the stores up. Now, there are limitations. You can't add funds on a PlayStation 3, so you've got to go into the app on your phone or onto the web storefront to add funds to your PlayStation wallet to then be able to purchase from PlayStation 3 or PlayStation Vita. You can't do a couple of other things relating to buying directly on the store. You can't store credit card information or PayPal information or anything like that. So there's a couple of workarounds that you need to instigate. But because of the fan backlash, because the fans said you can't do this, especially when it's the only way to play certain games, these stores are the only ones standing from that 7th generation of home console. And it's testament to PlayStation fans. And as over-engineered as that device was, the software support in the second half of its life was incredible. It laid the foundation and the groundwork for what made the PlayStation 4 so successful. And I don't think it was ever maximized, that cell processor. It was so complex but so powerful that the console could have probably run for another 3 or 4 years and been relevant. But it was just complicated to design for. It's testament to the fans. It really is. This is the power that you have. So if the stuff that you don't like that companies are doing about your hobby that you don't want to happen, speak out about it, kick up a fuss, and they will have to change their mind because they're not going to take that financial hit or the view hit. Like they're not going to want to seem like a scummy company in the face of such overwhelming fan backlash. speak out when they're doing things wrong, and you have the power to change it.
Absolutely agree. Crazy that fans kept this alive. And I'm all for it. Although, oh my gosh, that sounds like a headache to try to get money onto that store.
It's
I'm
not
sure
easy.
there's
It's
ways.
fairly doable, but yeah, it's just workaround.
Well, we have a story coming out of the China Hero Project. Apparently, 8 new games are announced for PlayStation. This is pretty damn amazing to see 8 exclusives on its way. All in the vein of like action adventure. There's anime in there. There's even some coziness. I mean, they hit all of the bases here. Oh, and I really think they did an outstanding job in making these investments and hyping up a lot of excitement for what's coming out of the Hero Project. I am in the background trying to pull up the video. So, Dorgon, why don't you talk about what's going on in China?
Uh, well, they've got summer right now, so it's probably quite warm. Much warmer than here. They have fantastic street. Oh, you're on about the games coming out of China. Okay, yeah, fair play. Yeah, 8 exclusives coming out of the China Hero Project. This is a initiative that has been run by PlayStation for a few years now. It's taking small developers, first-time developers, developers who've developed for different platforms previously, and trying to pull them across to PlayStation, giving them some funding, giving them some backing, giving them some support in terms of knowledge from PlayStation studios on how to bring games to the market and make those games worthwhile. We've seen the success of this sort of idea with things like Stellar Blade from Shift Up. That was a similar sort of Korean version of the China Hero Project. We've got the India project as well. So it looks really good. It's a great way of getting games onto the console. Whether they're all for me, completely different matter. Whether they're all for you, completely different matter. But there looks like a good variety of titles coming out of all of these projects that hit so many different notes, and I want to see more. It's great. They're smaller titles, they're interesting titles, they're new and unique titles, all things that every commenter on the video game industry is saying we need right now, because we're just getting reboot after reboot, remake after remake, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. All of the games look incredible. I want to try them all. I hope there's demos for them. As we've seen, demos make a big difference between people buying and not buying. So bring it on. They look great. Everything looks high quality. I'd love to get my hands on them.
I think what PlayStation did here, which was incredibly smart and maybe something their competitor wasn't doing at that time, was recognizing that there is talent all around the world. And if you make investments in different areas of the world to inspire and really bring out this talent, these different stories, these different perspectives, these innovation and ideas that come from different upbringings of not the same people over and over again, you're going to get different experiences. And I can't wait to get my hands on a lot of these titles. Like you said, Stellar Blade, one of the best experiences of the year in my hands. Absolutely phenomenal gameplay. Combat unmatched to a lot of games I see today. If you haven't played that one and you're a Sekiro fan, boom, Stellar Blade is right up your alley. But here we see just excitement because we're going to get 9 games coming from China Hero Project. Lost Soul aside. Yeah, Lost Soul, I was mistaken. I was corrected in my research for the video here. So there was 8 new games announced, plus the one we already know about, which is Lost Soul aside. All of these games are going to be hitting in 2024, 2025, And this is just epic to see. We're gonna get an onslaught, I think, next year of games and exclusives unmatched from any other year previously, with experiences that are new and bring innovation. So I'm excited for it. Pay attention to what's going on here, because the market leader is flexing its muscles.
Touche.
But yeah, that's my China Hero Project rant. The games that we know of, if I can read some of these titles, which I cannot. We got Evocation. We got. Okay, I'm not gonna try to read these titles.
Oh please, read them all. We'll have a good laugh.
Okay, here's one. Conalariaria. I think that's the game we're looking at right now. We also have, like, I just can't read a lot of the Chinese characters because I don't know how they sound.
Touche,
Unending Dawn. That one I can read. And then the last one would be Exilege. That's definitely not it. But just, oh my god, this game looks like Flintlock, to be honest. That we're looking at right now. It's kind of got sword, shield, gun, but oh my gosh, and you can fly. This is what I mean. Like, this is different types of stories, different games, different perspectives. I'm looking forward to it. You even got pirate ships. They could be out doing Skull and Bones, but definitely don't sleep on China Hero Project. You got 9 games exclusively coming to PlayStation, all in the vein of some pretty cool content. Any ones you've kept your eye on, or you're just kind of waiting to see? Because I know, for instance, I'm waiting for Lost Soul Aside. It looks like Elden Ring, but amped up.
I'm
This
waiting to see.
kind of looks like Splinter Cell.
Yeah, there's a few interesting concepts in there. The Bullet Hell one, I think that's Lost Soul Aside, isn't it? It's got like that Returnal vibe, but with sword and shield. I'm interested in many of them. I want to keep an eye on them. I'm not going to say right now, oh yeah, I'm hyped for that one, I'm hyped for that one, because I don't have enough info on any of them. But like I say, something in the vein of Splinter Cell, we're very much missing that sort of stealth genre title in the world at the moment. So just keeping a general eye right now. I'm all for it.
Yeah, don't sleep on PlayStation next year. There's going to be a lot of big titles coming. But that will do it for our China Hero Project coverage. Stay tuned. We'll be letting you know as soon as they either release demos or start dropping content for us all to play. But in the meantime, there is one game that's announced that has a release date. Absolutely adorable Mr. Astrobot. This is Astro. I always get that song stuck in my head. They're coming out with a limited edition DualSense wireless controller. You have 2 minutes to convince me not to buy it, because I don't need it.
Buy it. Oh, damn, I failed. Look, it's a fantastic DualSense because it takes the essence of Astrobot and makes it into a controller in your hand. When you are playing that game, you are playing... I don't quite know how to say this without sounding creepy. You're playing with Astro. Words are difficult. It's the eyes, man. The eyes are so... It's Astro. Astro's cool. Everything Astro is cool. I love it. It's great. I'm not convincing you not to buy it. I think you should.
Well, there you have it. Buy the DualSense limited controller because it's got fun eyes and it's blue and white, and don't get it dirty. Oh my gosh. But awesome collectible piece of kit, as Doragon says. The adorable Astro eyes are there. I wonder if the eyes, like, do they move on the controller? Is it like
no,
interactive
unfortunately.
eyes?
They're just on the
look,
touchpad, just painted on. so they don't move. I'm sorry to say.
No,
but
not like that. Not like on the
no,
controller.
you can poke him in the eye. So like, yeah, do something, you damn robot. But that's about as far as it goes.
Okay. Well, that may have stopped me from getting it, because if the eyes were interactive and they went, "Uh-oh, you died again," like that would be hilarious.
That would make it a very, very expensive controller to have an LCD or LED screen in there.
Yeah. But there it is. Astrobot's coming out next month, and if you haven't already, you can pick up the Gran Turismo Astrobot that dropped into the game, and we're only one achievement away from getting the full platinum, and I believe that's coming out early September. Oh, Espresso, come on, buddy. So keep your eyes open for that. Espresso loves Astro too.
Everybody loves Astro. It's understandable.
PlayStation Plus games. Yes, we are super late on letting you know about these, but if you don't know, now you know. Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, the Lego Edition, Five Nights at Freddy's, and the Ender Lilies. All available on PlayStation Plus, so be sure to check that out this month.
I think you personally should check out the Ender Lilies. It is a game right up your alley. It's 2D Souls-like.
Yeah, I saw that. And I almost booted it up the other day until I saw this news story. Beloved Sekiro-inspired action platform Nine Souls rated for PS5. This is a game that I need to have. This is that cute, adorable Sekiro-inspired Metrovania. It's already on Steam. It's doing well on Steam. Bring it over to PlayStation yesterday, so I can definitely get into this title. I've been looking for a Metrovania 2D side-scroller to sink my teeth into, something to be a little bit of a palate cleanser. So I'm happy that this may be coming to, and most likely is now that it's rated to PlayStation here.
Once the rating goes in, you're going to see the game in a few months.
No, don't say that. A few months. What do you mean? It's going to happen this week.
You really don't have any idea how any of this works, do you?
Game gets rated, but see, as you can see, you're this adorable little like samurai cat with the Sekiro inspired content. You're parrying a lot of the stuff, but I like it. I think it looks cool, and I'd be loving to jump into another Metrovania here. So definitely don't sleep on that one if you see it coming, and if you want to pick it up on PC, it's already available there.
Indeed. Looks great. But yeah, once it's rated, it takes generally 2 to 3 months for release.
Well, let's talk about everyone's favorite 5v5 hero shooter. We have Concord releasing more trailers, more mini shorts, more content to get people invested into this universe they've created. So go over, take a watch if you haven't already. I watched this short, and the one takeaway I got from this is, where is my PvE content? That would be so cool to have fighting these monsters and stuff. These faceless soldiers, as they have here in the short. It makes for an amazing anime. Great, like, well done, well produced. That you got that Sony storytelling very ever present here. So damn, I just wish Concord had, more attention and a PvE element.
It's one of those for me. I'm not sure why they're doing this outside of the game. This is some great animation. This is some great storytelling. If this was an unlockable in-game, you win so many games with X character or whatever the case may be, this is something that would drive people to really play it, that it would drive people to want to play it, to find the new stuff. It's kind of disappointed that it's just stuck up on YouTube for everybody to go watch. I feel it should be part of game unlocks discovering the history of this world and these characters. But that's me. That's how I feel on it. I know it would make game file sizes massive, but just kind of disappointed it's not part of the full release, because brilliantly animated, acted, and voice acted, and what have you. So just a minor disappointment, I think. I think I'd prefer it as an unlockable in-game.
Well, I hear that for sure, but I think they're worried about people getting involved. They definitely need to bring as many people in as they can. I don't get why the reception was not as good as it was, but hopefully this helps.
People had sold it off before trying it. Yeah. People saw something that looked similar to Overwatch, they sold it off, and yet they went and played Marvel Rivals, the exact same game that played worse and is worse balanced, and cheered for it. People are questionable at the best of times and incredibly judgmental.
Well, I don't think anyone is arguing that. Well, let's move on to the next one. And we wish the best for Concord as it draws closer to its release date. Let's jump into an overlooked PS5 game, RPG Atlas Fallen, and it's just got its game-changing Reign of Sand update. All right, so I'm looking through the PlayStation blogs trying to figure out, oh, what am I going to talk about? What is this game, Atlas Fallen, I've never seen or heard of before? I check out the clip. Why have I not seen or played this game before? It looks flippin' amazing. Oh my gosh, has anyone played this game? Because it looks ridiculously good. The fact that it just got a new update, making it a complete version, means it's definitely polished to the point of not its initial release. Everything about this game looks fast, fun, exciting, big combat, epic scenes, fast, fun traversal, open world exploration. I mean, damn, I think I may be checking this game out after the show today. It looks so cool. Atlas Fallen, if you haven't checked it out and you like a big boss fight, fast combat, put this one on your radar, because I'm going to be checking it out. Oh, and it's co-op. It's full co-op. You and a buddy can get into this and take on bosses together. So, where was this game? How did I never hear about this? And sometimes you just gotta find these treasures out there. I'll be reporting back because I'm definitely going to be checking this one out. Dorgon, thoughts?
I have no nice way to tell you this. We've spoken about this game on the show before. You knew this game existed.
No.
We have spoken about this game on the show before release. Cowboy was in the chat because he'd pre-ordered it. He was very excited for the game. He absolutely loved it, but he's the sort of guy who gives everything a 7 out of 10. So, you know, I don't know how it actually plays. I did play a bit of a demo or a beta or something for it at some point, and it was okay. Similar sort of vein to what I had with Forspoken prior to launch. Now it's had this big update. It might be a very different kettle of fish. So it is probably worth looking into if you can get it dirt cheap. If you can get it for that $10 that you got for Spoken for, or something like that. How much?
It's $10, $15 off. I've talked about this game before? Really? Oh my!
You have talked about this. We have spoken about this game on this show.
Egg on my face. Egg on my face. But that's nothing new to the show. That's nothing new. I'm constantly stepping in it. Well, it got a new update. I'm definitely still feeling like I should check it out. It does look pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh my days, that's great. I can't believe you forgot we spoke about this.
How many shows are we at now? We got to be at like 65 or so. We do this every week. I guess I'd like to think games don't fall under my radar, but obviously it did. It did happen.
Have we passed the year mark yet? I don't know.
Yeah, easily. Well, we'd pass it at 52 shows, and we didn't do one every week, so we're there.
Touche. Yeah, happy 1 year anniversary, Super PlayStation Bros. And Rudigs doesn't remember a
Yes.
damn minute of it.
Yeah. Oh, well. Let's continue talking about PlayStation related stuff and not how forgetful I am. PlayStation 5 had a excellent reception of Jedi Survivor. And guess what? They're bringing it to the older consoles. Something I don't think I've really seen in late years. Them having a release on the next generation console and then taking a year and making it available for the previous generation of consoles. So that's an interesting move to make. However, I'm sure it'll only result in a ton of sales. Just don't go looking for that high fidelity experience. But please note that the PlayStation 5 Pro can probably outspec the Series S. So you got a bit of a better place to get it there if you're looking for previous consoles.
Yeah, it's
What
a
do you
weird
think
one,
of
this
them
one.
releasing on old gen? New game, old gen.
I get it. I totally get it from a business standpoint, from a money-making standpoint. There are over 120 million PlayStation 4s out there versus the 60 million PlayStation 5s. If you're not making great gun sales of your 10, 20, 30 million on PS5, of course you're going to look at how best to make more money, and offering it out to 120 million more people, it makes business sense. The problem you face is, whilst there are 120 million PlayStation 4 out there, not all of those PlayStation 4s are currently used. Some will be in storage because people have upgraded to the PlayStation 5. Some will have been thrown away because people have upgraded to the PlayStation 5. And if it's a base PlayStation 4, as we saw with Cyberpunk 2077, even after all of the updates to fix it, to make it playable, etc., doesn't work on that previous generation console, despite all the promises and work that's gone into it. So I don't know how many additional sales they're going to get by taking it to previous gen. I wonder if they're putting it on the Xbox side as well with the One X and One S. But as you say, if you play it on the PlayStation 4, they are. Okay, cool. But if you play it on the PlayStation 4 Pro, you can still have a 1440p, 1800p, 60 frames per second experience. That's what I had with Ghost of Tsushima. That's what I had with the original God of War. I was having 60 frames on that old console back in the day. So you can achieve that. You can get that on the PS4 Pro. And if they've optimized it well, it could be good. It's a good game. It's not a great game, in my opinion. Neither of the Jedi, Survivor, Fallen, whatever it is, are exceptional titles. They're good fun if you can get them cheap. But it's a weird one, but it's totally just a business decision. There's nothing more to it than that. I'm not entirely sure it's been fully thought out.
I could see a release on the Nintendo Switch being a good move, but we'll see how this works out for them. There is a huge base on PS4, but I feel like those PS4 base players are just your veteran Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox, those type of gamers. So getting them onto the big new title may be a harder bit of a pull. But everybody's got to experiment, and we'll see. I mean, there are a lot of people logging in daily, so they have the numbers to support this push, I think, in the boardroom.
Quite likely, yeah. Like we said a few weeks back, half of all PlayStation players are still on PlayStation 4, so they can get the same sales again, at least, maybe.
Well, I think that'll do it for us this week. That was all the PlayStation news we had to give you. Be sure to tune into our show next week. We'll be coming at you at the same time, giving you more awesome PlayStation gaming news. In the meantime, be sure to check out both Dorgon and Rudigs in the link in the description below. Dorgon, what do you got going on your channel?
Since last we were here, I've actually got 3 new videos. So there's a review for a VR game called Big Shots, which made me feel very, very ill. Good game, makes you feel ill. There's a review for a console bag to carry your PlayStation around with you. Does work for other consoles on the market as well, because PlayStation's the biggest, so everything else will fit in. And there is a guide to find those bots on Astro's Playroom if you want to earn those trophies and unlock the secrets before the new game comes out next month. Yourself, good squire, I know it's hard getting the family together. They're aging out, they're getting older, moving off to university in new states and everything. Do we have family game night tonight?
We'll see. I do have a appointment that is going to compromise my speaking abilities, so it'll all depend on how I feel after that. Yeah, exactly. If I'm feeling up for it, you can catch me on Family Game Night tonight. If not, be sure to check out Cloud&Console for the download at this time right now, actually, on Friday. So, until then, we'll just be chilling out. Of course, I've uploaded a bunch of gaming videos because I was going through my PlayStation video catalog. So be sure to check that out if you feel like it. But other than that, take care, everyone, and have an awesome day.
Catch you later, folks. Take care. Bye.
Try to believe in me. Why try, do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spooked. I ride just to be the me who finds hype super decently smooth. Nice type, but as sick as beats.